Hello and welcome to the part 5 of this series. In this video, we will see how we can receive inputs from the user and how we can use those inputs in our program. In this section, we will see how we can receive input from console window, how we can use readLine and readKey methods, what is the difference between WriteLine and write method, and we will see how C# is a case sensitive programming language. So let's go to the Visual Studio and see this in action. Here I have opened my Visual Studio with a brand new project. If you remember from the first video how we were writing the message to the console window, we were using the console method and we were using the WriteLine method from that class, and we were writing our message, hello world. So the console is a class name and we were using WriteLine method from that class and writing this message. If I run this program, I can see hello world is getting printed. So now the requirement is I want to take the name from the user and I want to print that particular name in the console window. Like if I enter Peter, so I should be printing hello Peter. So in order to achieve this, well, let me remove the first line. So in order to achieve this, first we need to use Console.ReadLine method. What this method will do, when we say read line, it will be reading a line from the console. Whatever the user is entering, it will read that line and it will return that line. If you see this pop-up here, you can clearly see it will return me a string. So I can store whatever is coming from this method in a string variable. And we have already seen how we can create string variables. I will use the string keyword and I will give it some name. So whatever user is entering, we are storing it in the name variable. So let's go ahead and try to print this. If I run the program now, you can see cursor is blinking here because it is waiting for us to enter the input. So if I go ahead and write the name Peter and press enter, we can see Peter is getting printed here. So let's see how we can improve this program. So when asking the user's input, I want to show a message like please enter your name, something like that. Let me say please enter your name. After seeing this message, user will enter their name and we will pick that name, and I want to say hello and I will concatenate it with the user's input. So let's see this in action. Now you can see I am getting this message, please enter your name, and the cursor is blinking here, meaning it is waiting for us to provide the input. So let me write Peter again and press enter. This time you can see, as expected, it is printing hello Peter on the console window. So we have successfully received the input from the user and we have presented that input back to the user. Now let's see how we can improve the concatenation that is happening here. So this is the one way of concatenating string, like I'm concatenating hello with the name variable. I can achieve the same thing using the different syntax. I can use my curly brackets and I will provide the placeholder 0 and then I can provide the variable name. If you see here what is happening, it is taking this string format and it will look for these curly braces, and wherever it will find the curly braces, it will replace that curly braces with the variable value. Let's see what will happen when we run this program. Let me enter John this time. And you can see hello John is getting printed. This is one of the way to achieve concatenation. There is third way. That is the most preferred way nowadays. That is string interpolation. If you remember the last video, in the last video we have discussed how we can do the string interpolation. To do the string interpolation, I have to start my string with the dollar symbol, and within the string I can give my message hello, and I can use curly braces, and I can provide the variable name. It's very simple. If I go ahead and run it and provide my name Peter, you can see again the same message is getting printed, hello Peter. With the string interpolation, it is very easy to concat multiple string. Let's say the requirement is we want to get first name and then the last name and then print the complete name of the user. So I will first ask user to input their first name, and I will wait for the input, and this time I will store the input in a first name variable. And I will again ask the user to enter the last name. Sorry, we have to use the WriteLine here. And let me create a variable for last name and get it from the console. So once we have these two variables, I can show these two variables using string interpolation. I will first write the first name, and I will give one space, and I will write the last name. I am asking the user to provide the first name. I am storing that first name in the variable at line number 7. I am asking the user to enter their last name, and I am storing the last name in the last name variable. On the line number 13, I am printing the user's name using the string interpolation method. So let's see this in action. We can see it is asking me my first name. Let me enter Peter, and it is asking me to enter the last name. I will just enter Parker. If you see, as expected, it has printed the hello Peter Parker. Now let's see the purpose of Console.Write method. If I run this program, you can see we have printed this message, but the cursor is blinking at the new line. So we have printed this message and it is coming to the next line and waiting for the input here. Ideally, it should wait for the input in the first line itself. So let's see how we can achieve it. If we don't want to cursor to go to next line, what we can do, we can use the write method instead of using WriteLine. If I change it here and change that here also, let's keep WriteLine here so we can see the difference. And let me run the program again. If you see this time, please enter first name message is coming on the first line, and cursor is also blinking at the first line. So I will enter the name Peter, and again the cursor is blinking on the same line as expected, and you can see the name is getting printed. So this is how you can use Console.Write method when you don't want cursor to move to the next line. Let's see the Console.ReadKey method in action. Suppose the requirement is whatever the key user is pressing that you want to capture using your program. Let's write Console.ReadKey, and on that let's call the key char. So what is happening here? We are using read key method that will give us the key information which is clicked, and key char property will give me the key name which was pressed. So let me store this information in a char variable. Let me call it key, and let me print a message. saying user has pressed this key. Let me start this message with the new line character so that we can see this message in better way. This time cursor is blinking. Let me press S key. Now you can see we have pressed S and that was captured, and we have printed the message saying user has pressed S key. So guys, this is how you can use read key, read line methods. Let's see how we can add the comments on our program. Let's say I want to comment the line number 9. For that, you can press the shortcut Control K plus C. So if I press Control K and then C button, you can see Visual Studio is commenting my line. If I uncomment this line again, I can press Control K plus U. So you can use Control K plus C to comment the line, or you can use Control K plus U to uncomment the line. If you don't want to use the keyboard shortcuts, you can see we have the two icons here. First one is to comment the line and second one is to uncomment the line. If I press the first button, it will comment my line, and if I press the second button, it will uncomment my line. Okay, so one of the feature of C# is that it is case sensitive language. What we mean by that? Let's see this in demo. We have a variable string name and I have defined it as Peter. And now I will print this name. If you see here, I have used the same casing which is used in the variable in the message also. If I try to change the case of n here, what will happen? Compiler will start giving me error saying I don't know where we have this variable because I have defined the variable with capital N. Basically, C# is case sensitive language and we have to respect the casing of the variables. So if I have the N in caps here, I have to keep the same case here also. Now if you see, the error is gone and we can go ahead and print the name. Okay. So yeah, program is working as expected. That's it for this video, guys. In the next video, we will see how we can use the common operators of C#.